Hi Aquarius, Trishna here. Welcome to your September 2019 love reading. Before we get into the reading, I just want to let you know that I've started doing extended videos again. If you're interested in that, I will talk more about that at the end of this video. So getting into your love reading, what I'm feeling for you is I feel like your relationship, I feel like most of you are in a relationship and it's actually going really well. I feel like you are extremely happy in your relationship. I feel like you feel really comfortable in your relationship, safe. I feel like you are getting closer in your relationship and feeling a much deeper connection than you have in a while. Like I feel like this you're building connections with somebody that are so deep, and I feel like you haven't ever had this deep of a connection really with anybody. Not your parent if you have a favorite parent, not a friend, not a previous relationship. I feel like the connection that you're having right now is just so deep and it's so different and it feels so amazing and it's beautiful. And I feel like you're in a good place. I do feel like sometimes, there's like a little bit of fear because when you really get close to somebody, it can be a little scary when you really open yourself up. There can be a little bit of fear, but for the most part, I think that you feel fine, happy, good, and this is just bliss. It's just amazing and you're really enjoying it. Now, one thing that I'm feeling though is I feel like if there is something negative that you need to open up about, because right now I feel like you've been really getting close to your partner and really focusing on more of the positive, nice, fluffy things, and that's how you've been building your bonds. But if there's something that is more negative that you are haven't brought up, or that maybe you feel like you need to hide in some way, or you hesitate really mentioning, I feel like now is really the better time to bring it up. Now, I am saying I don't want to don't jar your partner with a lot of truth and a lot of heavy stuff, but I feel like it's better to tell your partner these things sooner rather than later because I feel like you are taking your relationship to new levels right now. Whether that's just new levels emotionally or whether it's also new levels physically, like engagement and marriages and moving in together. Like I feel like it's mostly new levels, physically in terms of like more commitment. And now is really the time to bring up the things that really need to be brought up. And, versus bringing it up months later or like years down the line after commitments and agreements have already been made. And the reason for that is because, if you wait longer and you hold on to this person and you don't really bring up some of these things, the person is going to be much less forgiving months later on than they will be now. Either way, it is going to require a lot of acceptance on their part, I feel, if this resonates with you. But the chances of this person accepting you and wanting to stick around for the long haul are so much higher right now than they will be later. Later on, if they find out later, if you tell them later after commitments have been made, they're going to be pretty upset and they may not want to continue being with you. And that's because they'll feel like you kind of lied or cheated in some way. And it will be a it will be a deep loss of trust on their part, and it'll be very upsetting for them to find out later. Now, if you mention it now, their first reaction may not be very warm, but they will appreciate that you told them now before any serious commitments have been made, and they will really value that, and chances are that they will come around. Of course, this is not for everybody, but chances are they will come around. And I think that really you know that now is the time and later on it's not going to be good. And I don't really feel like you're in this like I need to hide this mode. I feel like you're just in such a happy place that you kind of are not focusing on some of the negative things that maybe you need to discuss. And I don't want to say that you're sweeping it under the rug, but you're kind of ignoring it because it's there, but like you're in such a good place that it's like, why bring that up now? So it's not like you're hiding it, but it's like, why? Like things are going so great. Like, why do I need to bring that up right now? But I think that now is the time. Again, be gentle in how you explain it because you don't want to jar your partner. You do want them to stick around. You do want to increase the chances of that. So be gentle with it. You don't have to like dump everything all at once, but that does need to happen sooner rather than later. And I think that September is probably the month when that needs to happen. And by September, I mean that even if you mention some of these things in parts, that the whole everything that you need to share should be done by September. So like maybe you kind of mention a part of it the first week, and then you mention more of it the second week, you know, by the end of September, you should have mentioned all of it. It should all be on the table. And I think that if you do that, you know, I think that the person will do their best to be understanding. I think that for most of you, they will be understanding and they will be able to move past this and everything will end up working out just fine. And as a result, there'll be this thing that you no longer have to hide. It's on the table. They already know, so you will be freed. You know, they may have even done something, and so you will have freed them to be able to share something that they've maybe done in the past. And I don't feel like whatever they've done matches the level of what you've done. So, you know, for them, maybe that's not something that they really needed to bring up because it's like it's just not as relevant or like as important to a relationship with somebody as what you've done is. But, you know, still they may decide that like, hey, you know, like now I feel better about my sharing that, so why don't I go ahead and share that? And I think that, you know, most of you will walk out of this with your partner still by your side. And, you know, for those of you that do, I feel like your relationship will be much deeper and much stronger, and there'll be a bond there that will be significantly longer lasting than the bond that you currently have, which you currently feel like is a really good bond, and you currently feel like it's like amazing. You bringing up this negative story or whatever it is that you need to bring up will truly make that bond. Like, you think your bond is strong now, just wait. Just wait, because that bond that you could be building will be significantly longer lasting. Like, it will last years and years. So that's what I'm feeling for you. Is I feel like, you know, this is the month to really bring up anything that you know needs to be brought up. Now is the time, not later. If you really want to maximize your success with this partner, now is the time. Don't do it later, because you'll be cutting out any chance of success later. And, you know, I don't feel like you are worried, like you have this thing in mind where it's like, if I don't bring it up, then maybe they'll never find out. Like, I think you know that this is something that needs to be brought up, and it needs to be brought up at some point. Like, you know that. So, you know, now is the time to do that. So that's what I'm feeling for you. So that wraps up this portion of the reading. I'm going to explain a little bit about the extended reading for anybody who's interested in that. So basically in the extended reading, what we're going to do is we're going to go into more depth on this current situation that we've talked about. We're also going to look into the strengths that you bring to your relationships and how you can leverage them to improve the relationships that you currently have in your life, or to bring in new ones that are optimal, like good relationships into your life. We're also going to go into some of the weaknesses, or really areas of growth where if you really transform them and worked on them, it would transform the relationships that you have and that come into your life. We're also going to look into your fears and your blocks, some of your fears and your blocks, and really release those so that you really are opening yourself up to the best that is out there, and you're not holding yourself back, and you're really bringing in the optimal success levels that you can bring into your love life. And then at the end of the video, we're going to go into, you know, if you work on the blocks that we've talked about in this video, and if you work on the blocks that we talk about in the extended video, you know, what does your future look like then? What are the potentials that you can receive then once you've worked on all of these blocks? So that will be what we cover in the extended reading. If you're interested in that, I will see you in that video. If not, I hope I earned your like and your subscribe. Please leave a comment below, and I will see you in my next video on YouTube.